Ripping up, doing dirt on my own, ain't no bitching up, counting money talk, collection going on in my pocket, stunting when I buy the bar, change with Ted Dawson, he brushed me wrong, I have him slipping, grazing in the grass, she got an all you body, easy slipping when I smash, she wanna feel the fire, Peebo Bryson, I tell her jeweler pick up the pieces on this average white band, like see mixed brown dope, it ain't tan, damn, what he talking about, money a Muslim before they come and chalk him out, that's what my talk be about. You ain't feeling what I'm saying, ma. Get out the car and walk it out. You saving me gas, me money, and not wasting my fucking time. Can't you see I'm on my fucking grind? Pretending like they not, but they are. So tell them get off mine. They say it's wrong, but we doing right. We moving right, we in a loop, ducking, moving like shit. From noon to night, it's just the goons and the crew is tight. What you doing tonight? Just me and you, and the mood is right. What you look was right, cause we out here. And my team always getting that green. Yeah, cause we out here, and my team always getting that green. Yeah, cause we out here. We out here. Yeah. We ain't the vicious type, but we got plenty toys, nigga, like we sponsor Fisher Price. My bars and my voice get your sister hype, and I stay in the kitchen cutting raw like a kitchen knife. Make sure the raw pure and you get shit right. Fucking with the law, don't get caught by them flicking lights. I pray I make it every day and every freaking night. And they say that I used to do it wrong, I had to get it right. Stack of bread and that's pesos. Stack of bread just like Legos. I got the toast, so please, bitch, just let go of my ego. Double up for 100 G, bleed money, that's paper. Put 30 long in my dungarees, increase my daily haters. And we out here, them downstairs, they come out clear. Diamonds shine like a Montclair, and when it's time to ride, we take out chairs. Mopping in the chairless whip, chopper with extended clip. Bullets touch your whole body, and that's what I call intimate. They say it's wrong, but we doing right. We moving right, we in a loop, ducking, moving like shit. From noon to night, it's just the goons and the crew is tight. What you doing tonight? Just me and you, and the mood is right. What you look was right, cause we out here. And my team always getting that green. Yeah, cause we out here. And my team always getting that green. Yeah, cause we out here. Yeah, we out here, nigga. People ask, what's out here? Nigga, we out here, we chill. Stupid niggas. They say it's wrong, but we doing right. We moving right, we in a loop, ducking, moving like shit. From noon to night, it's just the goons and the crew is tight. What you doing tonight? Just me and you, and the mood is right. What you look was right, cause we out here. And my team always getting that green. Yeah, cause we out here. And my team always getting that green. Yeah, cause we out here. Minute Maid, how I whip it up. Tree beef like cows in slaughterhouse. That's why we gripping up. Doing dirt on my own, ain't no bitching up. Counting money talk, collection going on in my pocket. Stunting when I buy the bar, change with Ted Dawson. He brushed me wrong, I have him slipping, grazing in the grass. She got an all you body, easy slipping when I smash. She wanna feel the fire, Peebo Bryson. I tell her jeweler pick up the pieces on this average white band. Like see mixed brown dope, it ain't tan. Damn, what he talking about? Money a Muslim before they come and chalk him out. That's what my talk be about. You ain't feeling what I'm saying, ma. Get out the car and walk it out. You saving me gas, me money, and not wasting my fucking time. Can't you see I'm on my fucking grind? Pretending like they not, but they are. So tell them get off mine. They say it's wrong, but we doing right. We moving right, we in a loop, ducking, moving like shit. From noon to night, it's just the goons and the crew is tight. What you doing tonight? Just me and you, and the mood is right. What you look was right, cause we out.
Part 2, as I mentioned in Part 1, Stephanie and Darwin were the happy parents of a little girl named Nova, who was 4 years old. The entire family was very happy, but one day Darwin began to distance himself from Stephanie. He would go out at night and only come back in the early morning. When his wife asked him what he had been up to the night before, he would tell her not to worry and that he was just with friends. But she started to find it very suspicious. Then it was Nova's turn, their little girl, to start distancing herself from her mother. So Stephanie decided to install hidden cameras throughout the house. And when she discovered the footage, she was shocked. In the footage, Stephanie discovered that Darwin and Nova secretly creating spectacular artworks. These paintings always depicted the little family, and Stephanie quickly realized that it was a gift she would soon receive on her upcoming birthday. She then posted the video on TikTok, which went viral and circled the globe. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more inspiring content.
This lady is not as innocent as she looks. In Cyclone City, Iowa, there lived a 48-year-old lady named Wanda Hickey. Now a widow, she racked up millions of dollars after her previous 4 marriages ended abruptly from the strange passings of her husbands. They all passed in the same way in the same location at the bottom of the staircase from an apparent fall. But due to Wanda's several health conditions, they were all ruled accidental. One day, Wanda would receive a phone call from a Nigerian prince telling her she had a virus on her computer and that he could fix it for her, and that all she needed to do was buy $100,000 in Google Play cards. She would respond saying, "Honey, I don't even own a computer. And if you're looking for a sugar mama, all you had to do was ask." The prince would accept the invite to her home, even though he lived far away. He would show up to her front door a few days later. When Wanda opened the door, she would tell the prince to give Mama a hug. The prince could smell a foul odor coming from inside the home and was having second thoughts. He would then turn around and begin running away from the house. When he turned around, he would see Wanda right on his tail, and she was much faster than he expected, quickly gaining ground on him. He would then reach the end of the driveway, which was half a mile long, and realize the front gate to the property had been closed. He would then realize his nightmare had just begun.
I cannot imagine looking over at a car driving by and seeing this inside. There is absolutely no information floating around about this video, and I'll make sure to tag the original creator whose video I saw about it, but who I really want to hear from is whoever took the video, because as they were filming, they captured something extremely creepy as this car drove past them on the road. Now, a lot of people in the comments are saying that these passengers look no longer alive, and that the driver intentionally put masks on their face to seem less suspicious. He's also wearing a mask, possibly to shield his identity. Others were saying that it's possible that the driver is using props to get through the carpool lane, and that maybe he had taped their heads to the headrest to make sure that they stayed upright, but I don't know. While the figures in the backseat don't look so convincing, the way this person's eye looks with her skin sucked in around her neck is straight nightmare fuel, prop or not. Someone else in the comments section said that they actually heard about this man, and there's supposedly an urban legend behind all of this. They said that this man supposedly lost both his wife and children and couldn't deal with the grief, so he created these life-size dolls to replace them. And if that's the case, it makes this whole thing more sad than scary. But what do you think?
So check this crazy ass loophole I just went through. I nutted in the condom, put water in the condom, okay? Then you want to take it a step further, put the condom over a light. At that point, you're going to see a homemade lava lamp. Not capping though.
This was the most evil man ever. During the 1960s, there was a real estate agent named Phil E. Geese, who was a local celebrity in the Rhode Island area. He was everywhere. Billboards, commercials, flyers, all advertising his smiling face. But Phil had one big secret. He wasn't actually a real estate agent. It was all just a decoy, a way to lure victims into his home. He got away with it for years, until he met a newlywed couple named Mick and Crystal Beth. On October 18th, 1966, they scheduled a house visit with Phil, but they had no idea. They were walking into a life-changing moment. As soon as they entered the house, something felt off. The place was outdated, dirty, smelled like mold and regret. They quickly realized they weren't interested, but kept going just to be polite. At the end of the showing, Phil smiled and said, "There's just one last thing I want to show y'all." He led them down to the basement, and when they reached the bottom, he locked the door. From behind, they heard, "It's too bad I have to do this. I really liked y'all." But just as Phil took his first step down, he slipped, tumbled down the stairs like a sack of bricks, and landed looking like a pretzel. Mick grabbed the keys. They escaped. But what police found in that basement made multiple officers quit on the spot.
Oh yeah, one more thing. if y'all see me on Love Island, mind your fucking business, bitch.
About you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive
after
vibes
committing
only.
this terrible act of violence
Shout out
in
to
their
King
own
Saul's
home,
boss
he
in the
warned
building.
Marie never to tell anyone, not even her mother. After that night, poor Marie understood that what her father was doing to her wasn't normal because it hurt her, and he constantly ordered her to keep quiet. The next day, Marie's mother returned to the city from the village. Seeing her daughter and her husband, she smiled, convinced that in her absence, her husband had taken good care of Marie. She had gone to the village for a funeral, unaware that behind the scenes, her husband had turned their house into a trap. During dinner, Marie's mother asked her, "Were you happy with Dad?" Marie wanted to tell the truth, but her father glared at her. In his eyes, she saw rage, a silent order not to say anything. "Yes, Mom, Dad took care of me," she lied. "I know your father is a good man, a good husband, and a good father," Marie's mother said. But deep down, Marie knew her father was no longer that man. The problem was that even after her mother returned, her father didn't stop his terrible acts. He wanted to continue, but it wasn't so simple because her mother was usually home, and at night they slept in the same bed. So he came up with an idea: to open a shop for his wife. That way, every day she would go to the shop and leave him there all day so he could continue hurting Marie. He presented this plan to his wife. She was thrilled to become the boss, without imagining the price her daughter would pay every day. Now, while her mother is busy, her father goes to find Marie every day. Every time he brings her back, he quickly commits this act, then goes to work and orders her to be quiet. Marie can only obey, crying in pain, trembling with fear. You're probably wondering why he does this, right? Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next part.
This little girl kept saying she didn't feel well when she was alone with her brother, but no one believed her. Until one day, the parents saw what he did when they were alone, and what they witnessed was so disturbing that they called the police immediately. Sophia, a 10-year-old girl, would always come up with excuses to avoid being alone with her brother. She would hide around the house, cry for no reason, and ask to sleep with her parents. They thought it was just jealousy or typical sibling fights. But over time, Sophia began to change. She became silent, avoided contact, and cried every time her parents left. Then one day, the school called to talk to the parents. Sophia had told teacher something that raised serious red flags, so they decided to install a hidden camera in the room. Even though they weren't fully convinced, they wanted to understand what was happening. But when they watched the footage, what they saw was so serious, so disturbing, that they called the police on the spot. Want to know what the camera recorded? Follow me and comment Sophia for part 2.
This little girl been through hell. Her mom and dad decided to give her to the orphanage because her dad wanted the divorce and her mom is addict. So she started living in this orphanage. And owner of the orphanage started to post this girl's pictures online. First, they are just cute pictures. Then they changed. They started to post some disturbing pictures and videos of this girl, like scars on her body without clothes. So people started to notice this, and they started to investigate this. And they found out what is happening. So every time they post a photo or video of this girl, she's with a random grown man. So what they actually doing is human trafficking. So the first video you saw is after she came from a random stranger's house. So a lot of people wanted to adopt this baby, but owner of the orphanage refused to do so because she is the main income of this orphanage. So people started to fighting for this kid, and you can clearly see 1,000-yard stares from her eyes. And if you look carefully, you can see scars on her body. So finally, her own mom adopted her again. But I don't know if it is a safe place for this kid. But she escaped from that horror in the orphanage. If you like this video, make sure to follow me.
This elderly woman inherited a key from her late husband. When she opened his 70-year-old safe, she was shocked by what she found inside. Maggie had always had suspicions about her husband throughout their life together. He had always been somewhat reserved about his past. When they moved into their home, he insisted on creating a separate office. Maggie agreed, but from the moment they moved in, she was never allowed into the room. Last month, when he passed away, she finally found the courage to look inside. While searching the office, she came across a safe. This changed how she would remember her husband forever. There were too many locks in the house. Maggie opened the door and couldn't believe what she saw. She saw a locked cabinet and decided to open it immediately. She couldn't get enough of all the locks in the house. She opened the cabinet doors and saw a large safe. Great, more secrets, she thought. She found the code to open the safe and couldn't believe what she saw inside. How could her husband hide such a big secret from her for so long? Comment secret for part 2.
Her husband abandoned her just 3 days after she had both legs amputated. But 4 years later, he would deeply regret it. Emily, a 29-year-old woman living with her husband in a small town in Texas, went through an event that completely changed her life. One evening, while returning home from work, she was involved in a terrible car accident, an accident that would alter her life forever. When her husband heard the news, he rushed to the hospital with his heart pounding. Emily remained connected to several machines for more than 48 hours. When she finally regained consciousness, the doctors delivered heartbreaking news. Just 3 days later, the man who was supposed to be her support announced that he was leaving. Alone, Emily cried herself to sleep every night, feeling completely lost. But one day, in a moment of deep reflection, something inside her shifted. She decided she would not be defeated. Step by step, Emily created a plan. It wasn't a plan for traditional revenge, but something far more powerful. 5 years later, she shocked everyone, including him. Tap the red button on my profile picture and comment to see what happened next.
If I had a shovel in my rectum, I would be pretty loud too.
Get it out! Get it out right now!
The patient who'd stared death in the face had fallen off a roof while making repairs, breaking his arm and being impaled by a shovel. After examining his injuries, the doctors found the impalement site was in an awkward spot, the perineum, the area between the scrotum and the rectum. His condition was critical. He could bleed to death within minutes. While administering emergency care, the hospital also contacted his family.
How did you hurt yourself?
I fell off the roof.
Jay, how many times have I told you I don't like you going up there? What did he do to his arm?
His wife arrived quickly, but she only noticed the arm injury and missed the life-threatening shovel wound. With time pressing, the doctors tried to communicate with her, informing her that her husband's condition was critical and an X-ray was needed to check if the shovel had damaged any vital organs, but her response left them helpless.
Get it out! Get it out right now! Isn't anyone doing anything?
The patient was in excruciating pain. For the sake of his safety, the doctors no longer paid heed to his wife. Fortunately, the X-ray results were promising. His lumbar spine looked intact, and no vital organs had been pierced. However, the patient was still in critical condition, so surgery had to be performed immediately.
This baby drinks horse milk every day. But 20 years later, what he has become will terrify you. Florent and Anne had just had a little boy, Leo. At first, everything was going well, but one day Leo started to refuse industrial milk. He was crying and not feeding anymore. His parents were very worried, so Florent and Anne had an idea to make Leo taste the milk of their horse. From the beginning, the little boy loved it. He asked for more every time. For several years, Leo continued to drink this milk every day. But 20 years later, Leo's parents regretted their choice. Leo had seen doctors, but it was too late. According to doctors, what horse milk had done to Leo was irreversible and couldn't have imagined that their son would become like that. The consequences of horse milk will terrify you. Press the like button and comment horse if you want part 2.
This was the real-life Scooby-Doo, and it was seriously creepy. Back in 1961, a traveling group called the Dober Scoobers made headlines for solving strange cold cases all across Ohio. The team was made up of 4 teenagers and a giant Great Dane named Jasper, who claimed to actually understand human language. They drove from town to town in an old green van, showing up wherever something weird happened. Ghost sightings, missing people, abandoned mines, and somehow they always figured it out. But in October 1964, something went terribly wrong. They arrived in a small town called Amber Falls, investigating a series of disappearances connected to a shut-down amusement park. Only 2 members of the group made it out. The other 2 were found days later, deep in a tunnel under the park. No injuries, no signs of a struggle, just their faces, frozen in pure terror. But here's the part that still haunts people. In 1972, a hiker snapped a photo deep in the Amber Falls woods. It showed a tall creature walking upright with the head of a dog. On the ground in front of it was a torn blue collar. The tag was scratched, but one letter was still visible, SD. No one has ever confirmed what happened to Jasper or what came out of that amusement park.
One of our creepy Storytime family members shared this story with me, and she said that anytime she has ever tried to tell anybody, nobody has believed her and they've made her feel so alone. Creepy story time. Now, this is a long one, so this is part 1. She said she'd like to remain anonymous, but she'll probably be checking the comments if you want to leave your input there. This story takes place a few years back when she was 16, just about to turn 17. She is 20 now. For the sake of the story, let's call her Natalie. Natalie had just started an ILS position, which if you don't know what that means, it's just somebody that works with people who have cognitive or physical disabilities. Natalie said that typically somebody at her age at the time would not have gotten a position like this, especially with the company it was for, but her mom worked at the office there and so did her mother's boyfriend. So she had a good word in, and she said she didn't even need to interview for the position. She said, so fast forward about a month and everything is going great. She absolutely loves her job. She adores all her clients. And one morning, one of her clients had to cancel the shift because of illness or something. So in order to keep her hours, she reported it and she was given another client for that day, someone she had never worked for before. Natalie read specific documentation. For the story's sake, we'll call this girl Sarah. And she came to find out that Sarah has autism. So she arrives at Sarah's house, knocks on the door, and goes inside. She says that Sarah was very sweet, but she did note that something felt very off. She had matted hair, her clothes were stained and tattered, and she said there was a very strong smell of dead animal. So she said she nicely and briefly suggested that maybe they could work together to her up a little bit. And then she even went on to explain the importance of cleanliness so as to avoid sickness or infection. So Sarah just looks at Natalie dead in the face and says, "He won't let me." So Natalie's a little confused because nowhere on Sarah's documentation does it say that she lives with anybody. She is very independent and lives alone despite having autism. So Natalie asks Sarah
about you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only.
Sarah one more time.
Shout out to King Saul's boss in the build about you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes.
Supply sitting there. So Sarah begins to draw, and Natalie stands up and walks across to go over to her in the dining room. And she said that when she passed the living room, she noticed a very tall, had to be about 6 foot, old looking full-length mirror. She said she remembers these details about it, like streaks running down it and cracks around the upper edge, probably because she said it made her feel very unsettled. So Natalie says she sits down at this table and her back is directly facing the mirror. And when she turns around, she can see into the mirror. She sees her own reflection and she can also see a little bit into the living room. So they're sitting there in silence for a little. And then Natalie tries to strike up some kind of conversation, asking her basic questions like, what are you into? What are your hobbies? Sarah does not give her very much to go on. She answers her with a few one-word answers. And then the rest of the time, she's just shrugging her shoulders again. Natalie totally understands that with autism, it's hard to socialize, especially with new people. So she just decides to let it be. So about 30 minutes have gone by and Natalie is trying to come up with things to talk about. So she's complimenting her drawings. But again, Sarah didn't really say much. Then all of a sudden, the temperature in the room dropped. She said it felt like all the windows were open on a cold winter day and none of the windows were open. She asked Sarah, hey, do you want me to turn on the heat since it's here? And Sarah replied, I need it cold. Natalie's like, all right. And she left it at that. Then Natalie notices Sarah aggressively flips the page in her drawing book and starts scribbling down an image. And it starts to look like she's drawing a cross. Natalie almost wanted to ask her if she was religious, but she knew that would be inappropriate to ask. And she didn't want her to feel uncomfortable. So she just asked, what are you drawing? Sarah just smiled wide without looking up and just replied, it's a cross. But Natalie noticed that Sarah drew it upside down. So Natalie said, I think you might have it drawn the wrong way. See, like this. And she holds up her necklace that she was wearing of a cross. Sarah looks up and her face drops. And she just says, you shouldn't have that in here. Natalie asks, why not? And then she replies, he doesn't like it. And then she went back to drawing. So at this point, Natalie's getting pretty freaked out. And then she says the coldness in the room drops even more. It's just getting worse and worse. And she's starting to think, I brought a jacket with me. Did I bring it from the car? Did I put it in the living room? So she turns around to look into the mirror to see if she can kind of see it sitting in the living room. When she turns around and looks in the mirror, she sees her own reflection, and she says she can see Sarah's hand sticking out from behind her, still scribbling away on the paper. And then Natalie says all of a sudden she just got this overwhelming sense of dread, just this horrible feeling like something bad is going to happen. And she's still looking in the mirror, watching Sarah's hand scribble. And then all of a sudden she stops and just sits there still. Natalie is frozen in fear. She just has this intense feeling like somebody's watching her. She says in that moment, she also felt breath hit her on the back of the head, and it even fluttered her hair. She spun around so fast, and she was face to face with Sarah, so close Sarah's nose was almost touching hers. She swore that she was able to see everything in the mirror, and she would have seen if Sarah was getting up out of her seat to move close to her. Her hand was still on the table. She said she would not have had enough time to get that close to her without her seeing her move in the mirror. Natalie recoiled back and Sarah kept leaning forward. Natalie kind of put her hand on her chest and then tried to jokingly say, "Oh, you scared me." Sarah now leaned back a little bit and then just looked at her and gave her the biggest grin. And she said it looked super unusual, almost like it hurt. And then she looked up and past her, and immediately her face dropped and she said, "He doesn't like you." Okay, this is getting kind of long, so I'm going to make a part 2 and finish up the story. Keep an eye out.
I just want to let you know that we have found
about you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only. Shout out to King Saul's boss and the
Sauce, man. Sauce, the boss, man. Of course, Sauce.
This mother has just received shocking news about her missing daughter's dead body being found. But at the scene, what the officers discover is far more horrifying than anyone expected.
Uh-oh. See that? That's not good. It looks like a human head to me. Yeah, it looks like a chest cavity in the dark. Drag mark right there.
Boss. Yo,
We got drag marks right there.
Of course.
And we got a female body. Basically, she's face down, pants down. I can see enough.
On March 8th, 2020, an officer responds to a missing persons report, which sets the stage for a chilling mystery.
Is it son or daughter?
Daughter.
Daughter?
Yeah.
Okay. What is daughter's name?
Brittany, you want to get a picture? Her friend that had her. I talked to him. He dropped her off at the high school down here at 4:00 with some guy. And I go, "What guy?" And he goes, "I don't know. She just said my new friend." Tall, white, cowboy-looking guy with a green truck. And now nobody can find her. None of her friends. Her phone's not on.
Okay.
I don't know where to.
Has she ever did this before?
No.
Done this before?
No. And even when she does go out and do dumb things, we get a call with some crazy kind of an excuse. You know what I mean? Trying to get her out of trouble. Nothing. Not a friend. None of her friends or best friends. Nobody can find her.
When 16-year-old Gabrielle Brittany Ulaki fails to return home after her father Jim Ulaki's band practice, he urges her mother Alicia to file a report, setting in motion an investigation that will uncover far more than a simple disappearance. Brittany's phone has gone dark, and the only clue they have is a fleeting description.
And all we know is that it was a green truck. We know nothing else about the individual.
No, the boy said it was an ugly green F-150 from the early 2000s.
The officer learns that Brittany was last seen with her friend Bryce Dickey, who dropped her off at school. But something about the incident immediately catches the officer's attention.
Is there any other friends that were with Bryce, or it was just Bryce?
It was just Bryce.
And she was with him, and then he dropped her off, and he had no idea who this guy was.
No, and he even said it seemed sketchy. And I'm like, well, why'd you leave her? Why'd you leave her?
Did Bryce happen to mention it if it was a Nevada license plate?
Did you see that much?
No, I didn't see anything about the truck. He said he was a pretty good distance away from it.
So he dropped her off, and then she walked quite a ways. She didn't want him to just pull up to the vehicle?
He said he dropped her off right in front of the school, and then she walked into the parking lot.
Brittany asked to be dropped just a short distance away, an oddly precise choice, too deliberate to be random. Just as the officer wraps up, her mom has one more name to drop.
Her best friend said that she's been talking to a guy named JT. She says she doesn't know anymore. She just keeps calling him JT. She goes, has anybody talked to a guy named JT? I know they've been talking a lot lately.
What's Bryce's last name?
Dickie.
Dickie.
In the days before she vanished, Brittany's contact with the stranger worried her family. Social media hints at the link, but the full story remains hidden. Identifying JT as their prime suspect, the investigators' most urgent task becomes locating him. Believing Bryce is the only person who can reveal JT's whereabouts, they interview him at the high school parking lot.
Hey, Bryce. Let's go. Good. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no problem.
So, kind of run me through it so I can understand what's going on.
All right, so Sunday, around 11, I started texting, got a few texts from Brittany, just asked if I wanted to hang out. Said sure, get ready and stuff. Told me she could meet me at Angel Park because she said her dad was doing band practice. And then went to town, called her when I got into town on 5th, and then picked her up at Angel Park, drove around, went up towards Mountain View, kept driving around, and then we were over in the horse palace section, and my dad called me, asking if I could come back home. So I told her I needed to go. Asked her if she wanted me to just drop her back off at Angel Park, and she said that she wanted me to drop her off at the high school to meet her new friends.
As he continues the story, Bryce recounts the final moments in which he saw Brittany.
She got out, I pulled out, and then started heading that way, and the F-150 was over there, but I didn't know that was where she was going at that time. And then got about right towards where it opens up, and then looked back, and they were both standing outside the truck. And then I got to the turnout right over there by the middle school, and then that F-150 was.
Okay. So you said what was the F-150?
Yeah, it was ones that are really ugly looking, have the like side step on.
Like that winter green, dark forest green?
Like a dark forest green.
But when stories line up too perfectly, investigators know there's usually more beneath the surface.
So you picked her up at 1:30. Where did you guys go? I mean, you said you were with her for how long?
Dropped her off at 4:30, so that's three and a half hours.
I'm sure that you didn't drive around for 3.5 hours. That's a waste of gas.
No, I drove around for 3.5 hours.
Okay. That's all you did for 3.5 hours? That seems really odd. That you just drive and aimlessly around.
That's what I do almost every day. I was in my Chevy.
What's your Chevy?
It's a 93 Chevy 1500. It's a Silverado.
Single cab or double?
Single. Single with a long bed.
So you just drove around? You didn't stop anywhere?
No. Didn't stop at all. Literally just kept doing circles. Drove around towards the sports complex. Looked back around to the housing section.
I just think it's kind of odd. I think you know more than what you're telling.
The investigators sense that between the pickup and drop-off lies a part of the story Bryce refuses to reveal. To back up his story, Bryce shows officers his phone and the last messages he exchanged with Brittany.
I had a streak with Brittany for like 70 days. I had a habit I still stick to.
Where are you? Are you okay? Answer the phone. What time was that, please?
6:14.
Little sis is what you're referring to her as?
Yeah, she's called me a big brother since like my 8th grade year.
The string of urgent texts suggests something is seriously amiss, prompting investigators to widen their search to trace where Brittany might have gone. But little did they know this search would lead them to a suspect no one could have seen coming. Authorities focus on the green Ford after Brittany's phone is traced to Boyd Kennedy Road, but deputies find nothing. As hours slip away, those closest to Brittany take the search into their own hands.
We had messaged Bryce if he could think of anywhere where maybe no one has looked yet. And he said, Spring Creek Mountains. And then he texted me and he told me, I love you. I'm so sorry this happened, but I hope you guys don't blame me. And I said, Bryce, we definitely do not blame you one bit. We love you too, bud. Keep your head up.
Meanwhile, Alicia distributes 540 flyers in 2 days, and a nonstop tip line floods investigators with leads. Just as hope flickers, a chilling text cuts through the chaos.
I got a text message, but it was, we have your daughter. If you don't send me $25,000, I'm going to feed her to my dogs. And they kept telling me that she's very sick. The drugs that they used to take her didn't react well with her. She's going to die.
Alicia alerts detectives and brings her phone to the sheriff's office for tracing. But what comes next takes the search out of the office and into the field. The detectives receive a call that some locals have spotted something unusual in the remote Burner Basin. The hunt now moves into the scrubland, where the horrific truth begins to surface.
My sister had a baby with my father. Let's talk about it. I know there's a lot of true crime people that I follow on this app, and this is a story that you probably would love to listen to. And if you want to take a deep dive, stick around. We're going to go off of timelines first and details later. If you guys have questions or want a story time on specific details, please let me know in the comments and I'll be glad to share them with you. The reason I'm making this video is because I do hold a lot of trauma and I'm not in therapy, and I feel like my story could potentially help someone else in this situation and give them a voice. Hi, my name is Alyssa. I'm 26 years old and my father was put in prison in 2013. So like I said, we're going to start on timelines, and from the very beginning, my sister was born in 93, I was born in 99. My father is my sister's stepfather, technically. He raised her from the time she was 4 years old up until she was 18 years old. Her real father was not actively in her life. My father was, so she called him dad. That was her dad. My father was an over-the-road truck driver, and a lot of times addiction comes along with that kind of job, and my mother was also an addict as well. My sister started getting abused when she was younger by my father, and DCF was involved and took me and my sister out of my parents' care and placed us with our grandparents. I was placed with my dad's parents and my sister was placed with my mom's parents. During this time of being placed with my grandparents and my sister being placed with grandparents, my mom decided to stay. Not only did she stay, she thought it was a good idea to get pregnant with my younger brother. My younger brother was born in 2000. We were living in Pensacola, Florida in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, single-wide mobile home. Mind you, my parents are heavy in addiction at this point, and the abuse still continued once we were placed back in their care. My parents constantly were physically fighting each other, arguing constantly. It was terrible. A couple years go by and my parents decide that they are going to get clean and get on a straight and narrow path. We moved to Cantonment, Florida. I'm not sure the year, but as a child, I remember thinking to myself, this is amazing. We're going from a trailer to a block home with a pool and acreage. We're going to have our own bedrooms instead of 3 children all piled into one room.
About you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only. Shout out to King Saul's boss in the building.
My parents decided to leave the addiction in the past, and my father decided to pick up another addiction with alcohol, and it was extremely severe. The abuse in the home continued to happen all the way up until my father was put away in prison in 2013. My mother claims that she didn't know how to get away from this man. There was no opportunity for her to ever leave him. Blah, 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 blah. Now that I'm an adult myself with children, I know in my heart and mind that if something were to ever be happening in my household with my spouse and my child, I would leave. And he would probably leave in a body bag. But moving forward, the abuse with my sister and my father continued to happen in the house in Cantonment where we had lived. The man that owned the house owned a lawn care company, and my mother started working for him. The lawn business was ran out of the backyard where we were living and renting the house. We became extremely close with the owner of the house. He was like an uncle to me. We would go to his house. We would have parties and things like that, get-togethers and whatnot. And you might be thinking, why is this important? But we will get there. We lived in this house for probably the longest period of time we've ever lived in a house. While living in the house in Cantonment, the abuse continued to get more and more and more severe, and I didn't ever think it was going to stop. Also, keep in mind, years are going by, I'm getting older. As I'm getting older, I'm starting to question things like, why is my dad locking me and my brother out of the house and telling us to go clean the pool or go play outside?
Yeah, we out here, nigga. People ask, what's out here? Nigga, we out here, we chill. Stupid niggas. They say it's wrong, but we doing right. We moving right, we in the loop, ducking, moving like shit. From noon to night, it's just the goons and the crew is tight. What you doing tonight? Just me and you, when the mood is right. It's a loop with Sprite, cause we out, yeah. And my team always getting that green, yeah. Cause we out, yeah. And my team always getting that green, yeah. Cause we out, yeah.
Minute Maid high, whip it up. Treat beef like cows in slaughterhouse. That's why we gripping up. Doing dirt on my own. Ain't no bitching up. Counting money talk, election going on in my pocket. Stunting when I buy the bar. Change with Ted Dawson. He brushed me wrong, I have him slipping, grazing in the grass. She got an all you body, easy slipping when I smash. She wanna feel the fire, Peebo Bryson. I tell her Jula pick up the pieces on his average white band. I see mixed brown dope, it ain't 10. Damn, what he talking about? Money a Muslim before they come and chalk him out. That's what my talk be about. You ain't feeling what I'm saying, ma. Get out the car and walk it out. You saving me gas, me money, and not wasting my fucking time. Can't you see I'm on my fucking grind? Pretending like they not, but they are. So tell them get off mine. They say it's wrong, but we doing right. We moving right, we in the loop, ducking, moving like shit. From noon to night, it's just the goons and the crew is tight. What you doing tonight? Just me and you, when the mood is right. It's a loop with Sprite, cause we out, yeah. And my team always getting that green, yeah. Cause we out, yeah. And my team always getting that green, yeah. Cause we out, yeah. We out here. Yeah. We ain't the vicious type, but we got plenty toys, nigga, like we sponsor Fisher.
Probably the longest period of time we've ever lived in a house. While living in the house in Cantonment, the abuse continued to get more and more and more severe, and I didn't ever think it was going to stop. Also, keep in mind, years are going by, I'm getting older. As I'm getting older, I'm starting to question things like, why is my dad locking me and my brother out of the house and telling us to go clean the pool or go play outside, right? My brother and I would try to go back inside the house and the door would be locked and my sister and my dad would be in the home alone. At probably 8 or 9 years old, maybe younger, I definitely thought something was weird. As a child, with the abuse going on, I was extremely terrified to say anything to anyone. My father was an extremely terrifying man. Extreme. My reasoning as a child for not saying anything was I was scared if I mentioned that something weird was going on with my mom, my sister, and my dad to my mom. If I said anything to my mom, I was terrified that my mom was going to approach him. She was going to tell him what I had told her, and then he would retaliate and hurt me. So I never said anything. I never said anything. And yes, to this day, I do have guilt and I sleep with that every single day. Now, the crazy part that comes in is, like I told you, the guy that owned the business, running it out of the backyard and the home we were renting from him, approached my mother and questioned her about my father and my sister's relationship, that it was weird. Mind you, this came out of the blue, according to my mom. She questioned my dad and my sister, and they said, no, nothing's going on, right? Me, as a mom today, if any outsider is coming to tell me that something is going on, or I think something's going on with your spouse and your child, done. Before it even got to this point, it should have been done. So the landlord / lawn business owner that had questioned my mom about my dad and my sister's relationship, his relationship with my dad became pretty rocky, and my parents decided that we were going to move. We moved to a house on Abbey Lane in Pensacola, Florida. And not long after we moved in, maybe several months, is when the big secret came out. I can go into detail about the night that everything did go out. If you guys want a story time on that, please drop it in the comments and I will be glad to tell you that story. Now, when everything did come out, my father denied every bit of everything up until there was a child born, and DNA proved that 99.999% DNA was his. Mind you, my sister did not find out that she was pregnant until she was several months along, and it was right before we were going to go to trial. Trial happened in July of 2013, and she had the baby in February of 2013. Now that pretty much sums up the timeline of everything that I've endured in my childhood. However, there is so many stories that I have about things that my parents have put me through and my siblings through. So if you would like to hear a story or you're interested about everything that happened, feel free to drop a comment. I'm going to use this as a diary / therapy session / trauma dump. I don't care. I just want my story out there. It's been so long and I've sat for a long, long time, and I just want to feel some sort of justice for myself. And my father being locked away in prison is not the justice that you guys think that I need. It's more than that. I hold trauma. I will hold the trauma for as long as I'm alive. So if you're interested, please stick around. I want to share this with everyone. I want to share this story. I want to help someone if they have been through something similar. Yeah. And that's me and my life.
Back in 1992, 52-year-old Patricia Kopta went missing. She just completely vanished. She just suddenly left her husband, her mother, her siblings, and they were all desperately wondering what happened to her. At the time,
about you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only.
Truck driver. Now,
shout out to King Saul's boss in the
Patricia
building.
Was known as the Sparrow. People called her or referred to her as the Sparrow because she was short. She had a really small frame and she had what people described as like an erratic walk. But why did people know her all around town? Well, because before Patricia went missing, she had been hanging around the downtown area since way back in the 1980s, and she would be down there preaching the end times to anyone and everyone that would listen to her. But what made Patricia do this? It is said that she suffered from pretty severe mental health issues and she was afraid of being institutionalized. But before we go into more talking about that, let's talk about who Patricia was before her mental health struggles. From what we know, Patricia was a straight A student and she grew up from what some people describe as like a typical Roman Catholic family. After graduating high school, Patricia worked in finance at a Pittsburgh plate glass company. For fun, Patricia became a model, and she was also a dance instructor who would attend ballroom dancing events on a weekly basis. She was in church also every single Sunday. Now, it is said by family members that Patricia loved the ocean, she loved the beach, she loved the warm sunshine, and she really liked to go to vacation in Puerto Rico with her friends. It was her favorite place to go. Patricia met her husband, Bob, near a river in Pittsburgh when Bob had a boat. Patricia and her friends were just like all hanging out, and here comes Bob pulling up on a boat, and he ends up offering them to go on a ride on his boat. They did, and the rest was history between him and Patricia. They went on to get married in 1972. Not long after getting married, the family started to notice a change in Patricia. Patricia actually had to quit her job in finance after being there for 10 years because she was getting really bad migraines. When Patricia went to the doctors about these migraines, they just kind of brushed it off like it was no big deal. They just told her, hey, take some over-the-counter medication, or, just take this, stay in a dark room. And she'd end up going back to the doctor over and over. And every single time they kept telling her that these migraines were harmless and they were just due to a lot of stress in her life. And just finding that out, how many of y'all have been there? Anyways, Patricia couldn't continue working in her finance job. And so she got a new job as an elevator operator at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. She could handle that a little bit better than having to crunch numbers, be responsible for all of this paperwork, staring at a computer screen, but she was very good at greeting people as an elevator operator. While working there, Patricia began telling family members that she could see an angel there. Yes, like at this art institute, she was seeing an angel. Shortly after this is when Patricia started preaching, and she was briefly committed to a mental hospital where doctors diagnosed her with delusions of grandeur, and they also said that she had signs of schizophrenia. It is said when Patricia was downtown preaching, she would literally go up to people's cars, lean into open car windows at traffic lights, and tell people about God's impending wrath, which a lot of people knew her and they liked her, but you can imagine how that is when somebody's just coming up, they're leaning into your open window and they're telling you the hellfire doom and gloom. That's the point that she was at here. Locals say that Patricia would attend all kinds of events around town, and she would be really well dressed, and she would be there preaching as well. They all knew her. They say that she would typically say things like, when the darkness comes, go inside for 3 days and do not come out. Patricia didn't get into a whole lot of legal trouble during this time, except for she did end up having one encounter with the police that did lead her to being institutionalized, a thing that she definitely never wanted to have happen to her. That happened in this instance. It's also been reported that sometime in 1991 to 1992, a group of girls ran up on Patricia. They ended up mugging her. They stole her wedding ring. They stole her engagement rings and anything else that they could get off of her. So all of this is going on. She has her family that loves her. And then suddenly, out of the blue, according to Bob, he said that he came home one night in 1992. They got married in 1972. Okay, so 20 years later, they've been married. He comes home one night and Patricia is just poof gone. She's vanished. Now, after being reported missing, the cops say that they did everything that they could to try to find Patricia. They even consulted a psychic, but Patricia was seemingly just nowhere to be found. It had been reported to investigators that Patricia had made different comments or statements at times to other family members that she was leaving because she was concerned that she was going to be placed in a care facility. But no one really thought much of it. I mean, maybe they didn't believe that she would actually leave, but she made those comments nonetheless. Everyone wondered what happened to Patricia because she was such a notable figure in the town. Like, people knew her, they expected to see her. It was just bizarre for her not to be around. Actually, here's a clip from 1998 of people talking about Patricia.
Everybody has a Sparrow Lady story. Bob just told us she walked into the wave pool. Her legends, good.
Yeah, when I was working at the wave pool after I graduated in '86, she would come out to the South Park wave pool and pay admission. And she would have this really
about you, and it's no one else like you is what they're getting. Positive vibes only.
It must have been just so.
Shout out to King Saul's boss in the building.
And she walked down the middle steps, and the crowd started to gather because she was pretty loud. I mean, and the wave pool was just always packed back then. She walked right into the shallow end and proceeded to walk up until it was about waist high. I mean, in this
Saul's the boss.
Glowing white.
It's his birthday. Everybody wish him happy birthday.
Oh, this is big right here, y'all. Everybody wish Sauce, the official boss.
Oh, man.
Happy birthday, man. Let's go. Let's see it in the timeline.
If you feeling down, just get you a bag of that.
I like the
just light up.
I like to wish
Can't fire Mr. Head Can't greet him with two, only the third eye. Killer vision, PSPR, in hospital. Left me on the track, accidents to opera. Conscience, unconscious, flow riding on my train. Denzel, Chris Pine, unstoppable. Albert Einstein, imagination is more important than knowledge, therefore I'm flying off the tracks. Extraterrestrial blunt, I got it on the line. When I land, soul train line, hop upon my dash. They fear what they don't understand. I forgive them cause they don't really know no better. Hope let them walk on water. I'm dancing in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean with a polo sweater. How bad do you want success? I was holding my breath unconsciously. The conscious me woke up and came up for air. I turned 136 into the bombardier. There's a bachata, guarantee them in the dreams. Fire miss, Mr. Clean. Dirty talk, come shots, Listerine. The devil tried to catch me slipping, but my third eye open. I see when I don't know. Booty growing out the ground. I'm breathing the coke, the pressure coming. They bitching up. You can count on the fingerless hand how many people I can trust. The wordplay insane. Meditate, bring down a plane with no passengers on it. Facing the blunt, putting managers on it. Pushing T attitude, cutting ways, malices wasn't on it. I stayed to myself.